Hey everybody, welcome to the MMA Heat podcast. I'm Karyn Bryant.
And I'm Pete Cummins.
Today we're going to talk about UFC on Fox that just went down with H.E.A.T versus Luke Rockhold. VanZant had a great showing there as well, so we'll talk about that. That great fight card. That was a great fight card.
That was a great fight
really
card.
Exciting. Top to bottom, I thought there was really good stuff on the prelims even as well. We're going to hear from Michael Bisping. Michael tells this great story of binging before a weigh-in. Very entertaining. Michael, of course, fighting at UFC 186 this coming Saturday. He's facing Holloway, so we'll hear from him as well. And in high five, it's a 420 high five.
Dude,
what do we do?
It's a huge holiday today. 420 for those of you who don't know it. Big holiday
Just
for
like
my family.
99% of our audience knows what 420.
No, I mean, you know, my kids have been making brownies all day. Tonight we'll hang up our little plastic baggies, and then dealer Donnie comes down the chimney and fills them. Big holiday for my fans.
Nice. So, Pete, what? Go ahead. Sorry, I didn't.
I was just wondering, do I seem different to you? Like maybe more awake, more on it?
Someone started taking their alpha brain?
Took my alpha brain this morning. Boom! It's just like the thoughts that are coming. Right. I feel like that movie Lucy. Like,
nice. Interesting that you chose to take it the first one 420. Is that like a counterbalancing thing?
I'm going to do both of them all day, and I'll let you guys know how it feels.
Wow. Listen, Pete, I had a great weekend. I have to give myself props. My partner and I won our first tennis match. 6-0. We bageled him on the first one, and then we let him have a couple, and then we won 6-2. So it was great. Winning is fun. For all these fights, like winning, I forget. I haven't played competitive sports for a while. Winning's fun.
Nice,
I like it.
Nice.
I like it a lot. So yeah.
I think you should announce like the names of the people that you beat on this podcast.
I think their team was called Kiss My Ace. I think was their team.
Kiss My Ace.
Yeah, it's a clever name. Okay, folks. Round one. Let's talk about Rockhold Industries. Luke Rockhold looked just fantastic against H.E.A.T. What did you think? What's your take on it?
Well, one, he looked fantastic. Two, like he looked so much bigger
Huge.
than H.E.A.T.
Yeah.
And I can't believe that H.E.A.T. used to be a light heavy.
Yeah, well, that was really because Anderson, his close friend, was the middleweight champion, and H.E.A.T. never wanted to have to fight Anderson. You know what I mean? And so he was sort of like, okay, well, when Anderson, was done for a while, whatever, that's when he took the opportunity to drop down. Yeah, no, H.E.A.T. was not a big guy. I thought the same thing, that Luke just looked huge. Going into this fight, if I'm honest, my heart, I'm a H.E.A.T. fan. I think he's fantastic, and I really like him as a person
you got
too.
A little crush on him.
That's not a crush. It's a professional admiration for a man who's talented. I don't even know what he looks like. And anyway, I really like him as a fighter, but Luke has been looking so good lately, and that was the thing. It was like going into it, my heart was like, I'd love for H.E.A.T. to win. My head was like, Luke's looking great lately, and he is huge, and he's just been really putting it together. And listen, I know I spend a lot of time with DC, and DC talks him up all the time, but I've seen it with my own eyes how good Luke has looked lately. And really, I thought at the near end of round one, I thought, oh my God, I think H.E.A.T.'s going to tap. It looked like he was about to tap, and didn't. It was so wobbly, and so then you knew at the beginning of the second, it was just the beginning of the end. Like his movements were so slow, he was just a sitting duck.
Oh, he could barely, he could barely walk back. And as Joe Rogan was pointing out during the fight, when he was getting flattened out, he was just waiting for the proper time to tap.
Well, interesting. This is Luke had some thoughts to say. Of course, the actual submission technically came at 2 minutes and 31 seconds of the second round. He said, I had to take my time. I think he knew we were going to get into some scrambles. I was trying to hold a position, and I landed a clean elbow to finish that first round. I knew I heard him because I saw him wobble to his corner. I knew I had him from there. I saw his timing. I thought he would be a lot faster. It felt good. Nothing really surprised me. I've confidence in myself. I know I can strike with the best guys in the world. I know where I'm at, and I know what I can do. And he finished it up with saying, I did my part, Weidman. Now you go do your part. Dun,
I like it.
Dun.
Even DC was calling Weidman out.
Oh, yeah. Well, this is the thing. You guys should go back and look. We have on my channel, youtube.com/Karyn Bryant, I actually shot a clip on our set. One time I was working with DC and Chris Weidman. DC called up Luke. So we have them going smack talking before each other. Now it's even more relevant because this fight may happen. Obviously, Chris Weidman has to fight Vitor Belfort, but this fight can happen.
Right. Now, I will say one thing that I didn't like is at the end of the fight, you know, when the when the ref calls it off, Luke pushes off of Lyoto to stand up, and it's like, not cool. You know, kind of like pushed off the back of his neck to sort of stand up and get off him, and it's like that was a little bit disrespectful.
Yeah, that's not cool. That's not cool. To his credit, though, Luke Rockhold did also reach some major milestones for his career. So he ties Anderson Silva now for the most finishes in UFC or Strikeforce history, middleweight division combined history. That's 11 now. 11 finishes for Rockhold Industries. It's his 4th consecutive finish, which is nice. Second longest active UFC finishing streak behind Ronda Rousey and her 5 armbands.
No, listen, he looked great. Now, I will say one other thing.
Yeah.
Listen, these are both 2 good-looking guys, and I will say though, Luke Rockhold has a tiny little bit of a bald spot right on the back of the head.
And that makes you so happy.
In the back. And I was like, yes!
Yeah, baby!
I mean, I have a much bigger one, but I was like, come on, I can't have a guy with the name Luke Rockhold, great fighter, good-looking. So I was just picking, you know.
Surfer boy.
Yeah, picking,
everything.
you know.
Yeah,
so that's so ladies, you know, he's not perfect.
He's definitely not perfect. Anybody who's seen Millionaire Matchmaker, and you, I guess, didn't see this one, I don't want to tell you what he said in it. It's pretty crass. He was on Millionaire Matchmaker, you know, where they set him up with different women. He gets like to choose different women, and then he goes on the date. And well, there is one date that seems to be going really, really well until it's not. In Luke's defense, he claims that what they laid over the footage, the audio that they laid over the footage, he said actually didn't happen like that, but he was caught on tape saying these words. They're not good. Watch Millionaire Matchmaker.
Well, can we know the words?
He asked a woman about how she, end of round 1. I'll let you know how she, if she's servicing him a certain way, does she?
Right.
What are her options? There are 2 options usually women have.
Well, if you've been to some of the websites I have, there's a few more options, but there's the...
don't go there.
No! San Antonio spray.
Don't. The San Antonio spray.
Jacksonville juggle.
You can't even say it. Anyway, you know, it'll be interesting to see what happens with Vitor.
Lake George gargle.
I believe, oh my God. I believe Weidman probably will beat Vitor, so maybe we will see what, but we'll also get into this in the 3rd round. There's a guy named Jacare, who is also in the mix, so we'll talk about that in round 3. But here we go, heading into round 2, and listen, I feel like the other big story of the night was Paige VanZant. Now, this is a young girl, 21 years old. She's in there with a veteran, Felice Herrig. A lot of talk before this fight. Is Paige VanZant the real deal? Is she legit? She came out, she beat Kylan Curry in her first fight. It was on Fight Pass. You know, she kind of blazed onto the scene, and it was an exciting fight for her. She's already got a Reebok deal. A lot of people saying too much too soon. Let's let her prove herself a little bit first. And, you know, certainly skeptical. When I first saw her fight, very excited about the potential, but I also like cautiously optimistic. You know what I mean? Let's slow down, folks. She's really young. Let's see what happens. Well, anyway, she put the hurt on Felice. Like, she put the hurt on her.
Here's the thing, you know, listen, I was a little skeptical, you know, with the Reebok endorsement deal. It's like, you know,
she's cute, she probably got it
a lot of
that.
that's based on looks and stuff like that. But listen, she was so aggressive. She was in phenomenal condition. And she's a little bit psycho.
I think
like,
so.
You know, and I mean that in a good way, but like, she's just having fun out there, kicking your ass with a big old smile on her face. And when she gets more experience, I mean, she's just going to be devastated.
Yeah, I'm excited for her. You know, she's been training at Alpha Male. You know, they are aggressive. We all know how, you know, Chad Mendes fights. We know how Uriah, those guys are always getting after it. Joseph Benavidez, all these guys, they go for the finish. You know, that's how that's their mentality. You know, I did expect more from Felice. The first round was a little closer, you know what I mean?
Right.
But as it went on, you know, there were times when you thought, okay, yeah, maybe the ref's going to step in here and finish this. There was a couple of times when Felice was really getting pounded
I think
on
the fight should have been. Fight should have been stopped halfway through the third round. There was no way Felice was turning that around. She couldn't defend. She was just holding on.
Yeah.
And it's like, what's the point of letting it go on? It's, you know, I mean, we pretty much know the end.
We know the end, yeah.
You know, we know the end, and this woman's taking a beating.
A beating, right.
You know, to her face.
Listen, Paige VanZant, official strike count, 199 total strikes landed in that fight for her, 44 for Felice. So she set a new record for strawweights, landing that many strikes. So then somebody got on Twitter. I was talking to some people on Twitter, and somebody said, "Oh my God, I'd love to see Paige versus Rose Namajunas." I'm like, co-signed. That would be that would be awesome.
Right.
Because Rose don't play around. Like Thug Rose is out there to wreck some chicks too. You know what I mean? And I feel like that would be a really exciting fight. The strawweight division, honestly, better than the bantamweights in terms of depth, in terms of awesome possible matchups, of exciting. I feel like there's a lot more equivalent talent, you know, in this where you're going to get much fewer mismatch fights, things like that, than you're going to get with the bantams.
Yeah, I mean it's exciting because I'm really excited to see Paige fight, and then. And then you look at Johanna, you know, and you're like,
you love young JJ.
Oh,
you have a little crush. You have a crush on Johanna.
Well, because, you know, she's just like, I will destroy.
You love that.
And she does.
And you're like, please hurt me.
And she does.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's really exciting. Whereas like the bantamweights, it's like, all right, who's fighting for second?
Yeah.
Who's going to get beaten by Ronda?
Yeah, it's a little tough. I will say this too. If you look at Carla Esparza's Twitter feed, you know, she and Felice are very close, and she tweeted after the fight, you know, listen to all you haters. She kind of preemptively went out there, you know, to the haters and said, I just want to let you know, like, any of us who know Felice know that's not the Felice we know, that we didn't see the right one. And she said, or not the right one, the real one. She said, listen, for all of you who are hating on her, you know, it's been a very tough year for the women who were on The Ultimate Fighter. They had a grueling schedule. A lot of them had fights not too long before they had to train to fight to get into the house. Then you fight for, you know, all these weeks. Then they had only a few weeks to get ready for the finale. Then some of them got fights right away. Like, they haven't really been able to come up for air. They haven't really been able to rest their bodies that well. You know, there are a lot of the women on that show looking for fights, but still, some of the bigger name ones, yeah, they've been very busy. They've had a media schedule, all this stuff. So in a defense of, like, listen, there's been a lot going on, and Felice will come back better. Whether or not that's true, I don't know. I think these next gen of girls is just too good already.
Listen, and that's what I think that we're seeing is that, you know, everyone's getting started doing mixed martial arts much younger, and the female division is so new that, you know, that you're just going to see these.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, you know, that you're just going to see these young girls.
Yeah.
You know, there's going to be a huge shakeout in this next year. But how can people hate on, you know,
because people are jerks sometimes. Felice is cool. She's a cool chick.
Also, just to step into the octagon deserves your ultimate your ultimate respect.
And not for nothing, they wore the shorty shorts, and those made me a little nervous, but I'm sure you guys all loved it. There were some position. I was like, oh, come on! Like, it makes me nervous for the girls. I don't want overexposure. I don't want overexposure.
I
would like the girls to wear the longer shorts.
That would soil the integrity of the sport.
For the sake of my nerves, but I know that's a very unpopular position. I don't expect you guys to agree with me.
Just don't hate on people. If you're going to say something, point out something useful, like, you know, Luke Rockhold has that small little bald spot there. I mean, that's journalism, people.
Round 3 is beginning now, and we sort of, to pick up on the theme we were talking about at the end, I felt like watching the fights on Saturday, you know, and we've seen this progressing over the last several fights, but like a changing of the guard. Now, when it comes to Cub Swanson and Max Holloway, and I even said this, I love Cub Swanson. I think he's awesome. He's a total badass. I love his story. He came from, like, being a real thug. He was in juvie. You know, the guy could have really gone the wrong way in his life. And mixed martial arts totally saved him, and he's a wonderful guy, and he he coaches other guys. You know, he has such a good heart, and he's a great fighter, exciting fighter. But Max Holloway, my goodness, this kid has just been putting it all together. And so I'm watching this fight, and I against other people, I'm like, go Max, you know what I mean? But then he went against Covey, I was like, oh, this is hard. But he was flawless.
He looked so, his movement on his feet, I mean, I boxed very briefly in my life. And it's like, you know, one of the first things that you learn is you don't move straight back. And like his side-to-side movement was just, I mean, his movement was great, his ground game, I mean, he looked fantastic. Plus, he gets to go back to Hawaii.
Yeah, totally.
Like, how nice is that? Like, you know, some guys got to go back to Albuquerque to win it. Yeah, you know, still nice, but not quite going back to Hawaii.
Yeah, no, Max, so talented and really had some good things. So that was Max's 5th consecutive featherweight win. So he's now tied with our good friend Conor McGregor here for the 2nd longest active UFC winning streak in the division. They are, of course, behind Jose Aldo, the champ. He has 7. So that is Max Holloway's 6th consecutive UFC win. Okay, he was in a different weight class before. So here's what he said about the fight. He said, I hit him with a left hand and I hurt him, but he didn't show it. I jumped on him and he had his head straight forward, so I got a couple of good strikes in and got the guillotine. I just want to be the best in the world, and if you're not here for that reason, then you're just going through the motions. My coaches and teammates, training partners are the best guys in the world. We've got something great here in Hawaii. Stay tuned. Then he says, I want to beat the guys who beat me, and I want that win back over Conor McGregor. He says he keeps saying the only reason he didn't finish me is because he had a hurt knee. It's disrespectful, so let's test that. I'd love to fight him again, but I'll fight anyone, anytime, any place.
I just got more excited for the featherweight division.
Holloway, man.
I mean, that division is just,
it's exciting.
It's just standing out.
It's exciting. Yeah, he's really good. Really excited for him. I'm also impressed with OSP. You know, OSP was fighting against Patrick Cummins, and Patrick, great wrestler. You know, he's out of Reign, fantastic wrestler, and you know, Pat was doing a lot of stuff. Right? OSP is gigantic, and Pat was putting him down and stuff, and then all of a sudden, OSP's like, oh, uppercut, which makes me feel better about what happened to Shogun. Shogun's you know, a legend, and got finished so quickly by OSP. I'm kind of glad OSP, you know, did it to somebody else again too. Maybe not quite as quickly, but the dude is like, he's got so much potential again, and there's that raw power, and he just keeps learning. His takedown defense got better since the last fight against Bader. He learned a lot there, or I guess I did one before then or whatever. But the Bader was a good learning lesson for him. OSP is exciting to me. But Jacare, I feel bad this guy's getting screwed out of his... Okay, so I'm literally, my in-laws were in town. Jacare and Chris Camozzi come out to fight. I look at Steve and I go, 2 minutes and 17 seconds, right? I go, submission in 2 minutes, 17 seconds. Well, the official time was 2:33 or something like that. I was like, oh, son of a bitch. But listen, Jacare is so legit. And this poor guy is supposed to fight Yoel Romero for these like true, you know, eliminators. And now Rockhold Industries getting all the fanfare, and Jacare got screwed out. You know, he's the #1 contender, got screwed out of a fight to prove even more so how good he is. I feel bad for the guy. I hope, you know, I would love to see him get a title shot too. It's a tough call.
Well, listen, he was in a total lose-lose situation, and you know, and he did what he had to do and did it impressively. I mean, Camozzi, like,
he did not.
10 seconds into the fight, I'm like, this guy's outclassed.
Of course.
And
he,
listen, give him credit. He took it on, what, 6 days' notice? But he was just outclassed. And Jacare, like, listen, there was only one thing he could have done that would have helped him, and that's exactly what he did. I mean, he did what he had to do.
Jacare is a beast, and I know he's working on his English. I feel like that's what's holding him back. I feel like, you know, it's helpful when the Brazilian guys can embrace their English-speaking audience as well. But Jacare, such a beast, such a beast. I don't know, man. I'm excited to see this Vitor fight with Chris Weidman. You know, Vitor is really, really good. I know there's a lot of talk about which Vitor will show up. He's different now. He can't have his TRT. But even without that, he's an incredibly talented guy. He's been around forever. He's been very good for very long. But, you know, Weidman, after the Lyoto fight, I said I would never bet against Weidman again. So I don't know.
No, Weidman just sticks on his helmet, grabs his lunch pail, and goes to work.
Totally.
Like you can't, yeah,
That's a nice analogy.
I mean, you can't go against that.
Well,
guy.
and the UFC is sitting there. If they've got a choice between Luke Rockhold or Chris Weidman as a champion, it's a win-win for them too.
Right.
Like they're both, you know, like all-American, you know, clean cut, you know, like, you know, very marketable.
But it is like the blue-collar guy versus Luke Rockhold of Rockhold Industries.
Rockhold Industries. Yeah, Weidman from New York. Round 4, Michael Bisping. Michael Bisping fighting at UFC 186 this weekend against CB Holloway. You know, when you're cutting weight, it can get emotional. It can get tough. But you know, you gotta really stay on your diet. Well,
I've been doing it for 8 years. Haven't lost a pound yet, but I know the emotional part.
Fell off the wagon one time, in just like a grand way. And we have this story from him. I find this very entertaining. You guys take a listen to Michael Bisping talking about an unplanned binge.
So, Michael, you told me once that you were cutting weight and you accidentally ate a calzone.
Yeah. No. It wasn't a calzone. It was a triple Whopper with cheese and bacon, with fries and a Diet Coke. A Diet Coke, you know, yeah. Oh, I'll get the triple Whopper with cheese and bacon, but I'll get the Diet Coke because I'm on a diet. No.
How does that happen?
So I was fighting in Manchester, UFC 70, and it was my first time fighting near my hometown, and everybody wanted tickets, and it was driving me crazy. And of course, I was trying to accommodate everybody and, you know, sorting it out for everybody. And I'm in my hotel room at one point, and there was just piles of cash everywhere, tickets everywhere, a list of people. I had the tickets, right, just sorting everything out, and it was driving me nuts. And I was so stressed out with it, and people were calling me up wanting tickets and yada yada yada, and I was getting pissed off. And I'm driving home from the hotel because I thought, screw it, I'll stay in my own bed tonight. I'm driving home and I'm going down the freeway, motorway for those English listeners. I get a lot of crap off people for using American terms now. So I'm driving down the motorway and I'm just stressed out. I'm venting to myself, I'm talking to myself, and I'm talking to my girlfriend going, fucking assholes, part of my language, you know, and I'm driving along and I'm hungry because I've got the weigh-ins the next day, but I'm so preoccupied with being stressed out. I see a Burger King sign on the side of the road. I think, oh great, Burger King. I pull over, walk in, triple Whopper, cheese and bacon please, fries, Pepsi, Diet Coke. Sit there, eat it all. Record time, devour it, the whole thing, and then you know that sound at the end of, you know, a soft drink, a soda. Right. Just as it made that sound, I went, oh shit, what have I done? Oh my god, I don't believe this. I'm weighing in tomorrow, so I was panicking. Fortunately, I was weighing in at 205 back then, and I'm a 185 or so. I made weight no problem, but geez. If I did that at 185, it'd be over. It'd be over.
In general, are you an emotional eater, Michael?
I'm an emotional everything. I'm an emotional eater. The list goes on. I'm an emotional guy.
Yeah, and that's why we love you, Michael.
I guess so, right?
So lucky for him, he was fighting at a heavier weight. I just love that story. I just love that he's sitting there and it takes him all the time to get to the end and be like, oh crap.
Great storyteller too.
Yeah.
I mean, great like that. You know that moment where you're like, oh.
Yeah.
Great storyteller. Really a little like you know, emotional eating.
Yeah, emotional. Are you an emotional eater?
I've sat down with a pint of Haagen-Dazs after a breakup, Karyn.
Have you?
Call my girlfriends over and we usually watch When Harry Met Sally or something.
Is that right? No. I mean, I think I have in the past medicated with food for sure when I was younger. I try not to do that so much now. It's just vodka. But yeah, no. So Michael, I love him. We also have a full-length interview with him on my YouTube channel, and he talks about the upcoming fight with CB Holloway, and you'll see him train because we were down at Rain. You'll see him train with Tito Ortiz, Kendall Grove, Mark Munoz. The guys are all putting it together under the watchful eye of his boxing coach, Jason Perillo. So that video is out now, and we'll put it on our Facebook page, our MMA Heat Facebook page as well. I'm excited. Michael's the co-main event, UFC 186 taking on CB Holloway, who is a great wrestler. Michael learned a lot from his loss to Tim Kennedy, and he talks about that in our interview. It should be a good fight. Michael is a very, very active fighter, very accurate. He's a busy guy, cardio for days, and of course he smack talks Holloway in the video. It's fun. It's fun. You should check it out. Do you know, by the way, he goes by CB Holloway. I don't know if he cheated over. Do you know what CB stands for and why most likely he went to the initials?
Cock blocker? I'm going to go with cock blocker, Karyn.
This is our lovely baby boy. Clarence Byron.
I was that close.
That close.
I have been Clarence Byron so many times at a bar.
Yeah, see, at my point, I would have just put the word Lord in front. Lord Clarence Byron sounds legit now.
Lord Clarence Byron teams up with Luke Rockhold to take over the world.
Holloway of the famous Holloways. Yeah, no, that'll be an interesting fight. Of course, Demetrius Johnson versus Horiguchi is the main event. And I should say, we not only do we have that interview with Michael, minutes from now, I'll be heading downtown to have lunch with Michael and Demetrius too. So we'll have some more Q&A with the champ and with Michael coming up as well. Also, hyping up UFC 186. I've got an interview with Patrick Cote. The French Canadian, and still in the edit bay on that one, but that'll be coming up as well, talking about his fight with Joe Riggs. He is the featured main event, so that'll be the one that airs on Fox Sports 1 before the pay-per-view, and I'll be hosting the weigh-ins on Friday. So that's the last thing I said to Patrick. It sounds a little cheeky, no pun intended, but I was like, next time I see you, you'll be in your underwear. Which sounds like a come on, but I was laughing.
It's actually Wednesday night. But the point is the weigh-in afterwards.
No, I was just poking fun at the fact that I'll be hosting the weigh-in. So, without any further ado, folks, round 5, you know what it is. It is high five.
High five. All right, so we're going to go a little old school.
Yep.
We're going to do some praise or pummels.
Love it.
We're going to do some praise or pummels.
Okay.
So, now, I don't know if you guys caught this in the news, but Donald Sterling's wife of 60 years has just gotten a judgment against Donald Sterling's mistress, the one he was caught on tape,
yes.
Where she has to return $2.6 million in cash and gifts that were given to her by Donald Sterling.
Okay.
The ruling is that it was communal property, and that to give communal property, both partners have to sign off on it, and she never signed off, so she has to come up with $2.6 million. Praise or pummel this?
I mean, I think I'm pummeling it because it's unrealistic. Like, can you collect that? Is that possible?
Well, one was a house that he bought her, so now she'll have to sell the house. There was some cars.
All right, I'll tell you what. I'm gonna praise the fact that old, like, the first wife was like, all right, cool, bring it. Like, I actually am gonna praise that because that's a big kiss my ass move, and I kind of like it. Good for her, and I hope she gets it.
Really? See, I'm gonna pummel it. I'm gonna pummel it for this reason. One, he sat with her at Laker games. Like, she knew the deal. She knew. She's his wife of 60 years. He's hanging out with this girl, seen at Lakers. She knows the deal.
But a woman scorned, Pete. She's like, oh, really? You have to play around with this little young thing?
But here's the deal.
Pay for it.
She earned the money.
No, she beat right?
So listen, if Donald Sterling hired someone to mow his lawn, and would that guy have to pay the money back? She earned the money.
How'd she earn it, Pete?
So listen, I've done a little bookkeeping in my day, and so for all you mistresses out there getting all worried, might I just suggest that you invoice your services? So I've come up with a proper invoice. First of all, V. Staviani, what you want to do is you want to set yourself up, might I suggest, an LLC, a limited liability corporation. A good tagline, so, pleasing old rich guy since 2007. We have the address. This is just typical invoice stuff that I think can really help you out. We have 4 companionship. And listen, here's where you just want to itemize everything out. So if you find yourself in front of a judge, you can prove that you were doing a service-based business. So, sat courtside at Clippers game and pretended to like you. That's $300. Lap dance at $500 each times 43 over the relationship. That's $21,500. Allowed
can wives charge for lap dances?
I think so. Well, if your husband's a billionaire, I don't know. I think you and Wade might just have to rock paper scissors on on whether you do or don't. allowed hand on ass in public. That's small,
that's
200,000. Called you daddy at $20 each times 2,100. And then permanently darkened my soul for your sexual pleasure is at 2,356,000. So Wade, if you can scroll up, here you have, that would come out to 2.6 million. So listen, for all you mistresses out there, keep good books. Might I suggest QuickBooks or Quicken? If you need to hire me as a bookkeeper, we can work out a payment arrangement then. That's it. I really think that she would have protected herself.
That's smart. God.
Moving on.
Moving on.
All right.
We'll go into overtime. We'll let you have a little overtime on high five. We only have a minute left. We'll let you have overtime.
And it's 4:20
and it's 4:20. Everything takes a little bit longer on 4:20, doesn't it?
Now, here's one in the news. A woman was removed from an airplane after poking her snoring seatmate with a pen to try to wake him up. Now, should you be allowed to wake up snoring people on an airplane?
Allowing people to poke somebody who's snoring or laying on them, I am all for that. I can't believe the person was removed from the plane for that. I one time was on a plane, and I'm not trying to sound like I'm a fattest or what's the word? Biased against
like the ESPN reporter, Britt McHenry.
Yeah.
You don't.
Anyway, it's not a bias about you and your life and everything, but come on an airplane, nobody wants to sit next to somebody who's grossly overweight. It's very difficult. And I was on a plane one time, not a very big plane. Yeah, so like we said, we're going to overtime, not a very big plane. And of course, this big person came and had the middle seat. She was hanging over the armrest. She was all up in my stuff, so I'm like this, and on a side note, she was African American. People tend to think we all know each other. So I, in my head, was also just like, I'm not with her. This is not my big, fat, disgusting friend. Like, I think I was a little bit more upset by the association that, like, I don't know why that bothered me, but this person was just, like, pissing me off so much that I started to get mad at everything. And she's, like, falling asleep and stuff's falling. Yeah, you have every right in my book. I paid for this space. If you're in my space and stuff, get out. And I'm allowed to poke you to get your arm off my space.
Okay, well now that's a little different though, because she was in your space. Right. Her fat was seeping over in your
snoring?
space. So she should you should be able to measure her fat and do a % of what your ticket costs.
Right, and charge her. Make an invoice.
Make an invoice. Again, if your fat is taking up 7% of my space, let's invoice you.
Yeah.
But this was a guy who was snoring. And she also did poke him, with a pen, and he had a shirt sleeve, and there were little pen marks.
Well, you got to at least not engage the pen part on it. Yeah, that's a little rude.
I think she could have shook him.
Yeah, I would have just gently, tried to, dude, I don't know. Yeah, something.
Now, I'm a guy who snores.
What happens?
I'm a guy who snores, who spends...
What a lucky woman Joe is.
Who spends probably two or three nights a week getting kicked out of my bed onto the couch.
Do you?
Yeah, I do. So but I've also been in a room with a snorer, and it's really annoying. So I pummeled that she was asked to leave.
Yeah, I think that's ridiculous. And everybody else in the plane was happy that she was trying to get this guy to stop snoring.
Now, I do think she should have been a little smarter and not actually used a pen that damaged the guy's shirt.
Yes.
But, okay.
All right, do you have one more praise of pummel here?
One more praise of pummel. 56-year-old Madonna.
Oh, boy.
At Coachella, doing a song with 28-year-old Drake.
Yeah.
Basically, sexually assaulted lips, I want to say.
Is that what that is?
Sort of gropes, rubs against, his lips.
Yeah.
She and Drake did not. At the end, Drake looked like he'd been a little bit violated at the end.
But he did later then say he wasn't. It was shock, not disgust.
Yes, after his PR team sat down with him and they called Madonna's PR team and they said, how are we going to get out of this shit storm? Because when Madonna kissed you, it looked like you had thrown up a little bit in your mouth afterward. No, if you see me, he's like, oh, Jesus. And so here's the deal. Do you praise or pummel Madonna doing that?
I praise her for, again, doing something to get everybody to talk about her. This woman is very calculated. She knows how to get her name out there. She knows how to do things that everybody will talk about. Now, do I actually think I think the kiss was like, yeah, a little aggressive. What my favorite part is that she's kissing and then like Drake looks like he is gonna kind of like reach up to maybe play with her hand and she takes his hand and then I thought, oh, she's gonna put it on her butt, and then she didn't, and she just like kind of put it down and was really, you know, leading the dance there. The actual, you know, kiss was maybe not great, but I'm praising her for her ability to constantly get you to talk about her. And I'm sorry, but why is an older lady not allowed to make out with a young dude? Why is that so horrifying, Pete? Oh, no.
Now, let me ask you this. If it had been reversed and a 56-year-old man on stage, without the person consenting beforehand, had grabbed a 28-year-old woman and jammed his tongue down her throat in front of everyone.
But Rihanna said that she and Drake talked about it with Madonna and they agreed to it beforehand. Would I be cool if some older man like rapes a woman on stage? Probably not, but it also probably wouldn't happen.
Probably not. Probably not. You know, extenuating circumstances.
Depends on who
was
it is.
the woman asking to be raped on stage? Was she wearing something that said rape me on stage?
It depends on who it is. Again, you know that.
Don't give me angry comments.
You know that sexual assault, and you know that anything in the workplace is a direct correlation of how hot the guy is who's making the pass at you. That's how women judge this. And I hate to tell you the truth, Pete, but if a hot guy comes up to a chick at work and is like, "What's up, baby girl?" and then a big, disgusting, like, you know, zit-filled or nerdy little, you know, yeah, whatever guy from IT comes in, then it's sexual assault. I'm sorry, that's how it goes. That's just a fact.
So you're telling me I shouldn't try
Don't ever say anything untoward or you are going to get in big, big trouble.
Now, I didn't realize that they had talked about it.
Supposedly, Rihanna says that they cleared it with Madonna, like that they gave her a permission.
Okay, listen, so if they cleared it with Madonna, then I'll praise it. Because listen, if Madonna at 56 wants to be this aggressive cougar, listen, guys, if you give Madonna permission to kiss you, just expect that it's going to be one of those kisses that she wants everyone to talk about. She's going to swallow your tongue and probably clean your molars a bit.
Yeah. Well, and you heard, we were having this conversation this weekend with some friends that, you know, with a divorced friend of ours, that he's allowed to date somebody half his age plus 7.
Let me see, half my age. So I get to go with 31. Man, I don't even get 20-year-olds anymore.
Yeah, well.
Ah, son of a.
Yeah, really? And so, but apparently, you know, for guys, they love that. But you know, if it's reversed, you guys get all upset when it's an older woman with a young man. You guys can't take it because you know what's going on, because you know that he's delivering whatever you guys can't do anymore. And
first of all, I took my Alpha Brain this morning. I can deliver.
You need alpha something else when it comes
to Ready? Alpha Brain. Ready?
Oh, Jesus. Wow.
You know what?
Anyway, I say, you know what? Good for you, Madonna.
I can't deliver. We're not ending the pod. I want to show you people I can deliver. Can't deliver.
Listen, you got your 2 kids, but that was, you know, 9 years ago.
I took it.
That was.
I'm going to take.
You end up on the couch because you snore. You end up on the couch because you snore. So that means you either, you got to get it done before you fall. Obviously, it's like, how many nights a week is that not an option anymore because you're out on the couch?
I don't say that my wife and I don't make sweet, intense love before I fall asleep with drool coming down me snoring. Listen. How's Wade?
He's great. We got a little off track. Listen, folks.
If you're still watching, maybe you have the problem.
Yes.
Have you ever thought about that?
So let's review what we have coming up. UFC 186 this coming Saturday. Demetrius Johnson fantastic, just a ridiculous champion. So we'll be hearing from him. We'll have that up on MMA Heat. And like we said, there's already an interview with Michael. Also on the way, Patrick Cote. Also, there could be some news dropping about Tito Ortiz soon. And we also have an interview with Tito. So that will be dropping. We will...
Is he pregnant?
Yeah, we will. We can't.
Just give a baby bump?
We can't tell that story until Tito starts to tell that story. But we will have that as well. This week also, UFC Tonight. We have a show this week, and also Tough Talk is coming back because The Ultimate Fighter season 21 is starting. This is team against team, Black Zillions, versus American Top Team.
Who's your team? Who's your team?
I already know all the. I can't say.
Is it over?
I work for Fox. I get.
But is filming done? Is it completely done?
Yeah.
Come on.
So it's going to be great. It's Black Zillions versus American Top Team.
I wouldn't put your money on Black Zillions.
So we're gonna have Tough Talk, which we did after the last season with the girls. We're bringing it back, and it's gonna be fun. Bisping's gonna do it with me sometimes. Sometimes it's gonna be Dominic. We'll have fighters in. We'll have coaches. Cool. It's gonna be great. So that will be Wednesdays after the Ultimate Fighter. So I'm excited to be doing Tough Talk again. It was really fun last time. And also another shout out to Photoshop Steve. I tweeted and I said the force was strong with this one. I like this. It's like, next gen of Star Wars.
I think Photoshop Steve wants to see you a white girl, though.
I'm very pale, but I've always been very pale. I don't.
I couldn't even tell that was you.
Really? The chin? That once somebody said I had a jawline that a skeleton would envy?
You look like Sarah Parker right there.
Sarah Jessica Parker?
Sarah Jessica Parker.
What?
Now, who's that dude?
Michael Chiesa.
Oh no! I love Michael Chiesa.
Well, you have some exciting stuff. This week I'll be crawling back into my hole, and then when you guys unlock me for next week's podcast, I'll come out and do my half an hour.
Very nice, folks. In the meantime, you can find Pete on Twitter at
MyNoogie.
That's right. I'm at Karyn Bryant, KarynBryant. You can also find us on MMA Heat on Facebook. On Instagram, I'm KB Heat, and again, got several interviews coming your way this week, and join us for the weigh-in show on Friday. Should be good stuff.
And on Tinder, I'm Swipe Right Pete.
Wow. Thanks for watching and listening. We'll see you next time.